I found the ring on a Tuesday, not the way you're supposed to find an engagement ring stumbling across it while he's hiding it for a surprise proposal, not tucked away in his sock drawer waiting for the perfect moment. I found it in Logan Barrett's gym bag while looking for his protein powder that I'd borrowed the night before. My heart stopped. There it was, a Tiffany & Co. box, the real deal, not some placeholder or practice ring. A 2-carat solitaire that probably cost more than my car. After 5 years together, after 2 years of me dropping hints so obvious they could be seen from space. After 2 years of I'm just not ready yet and marriage is a big step and let's just enjoy what we have. He'd finally done it. I'm Ella Harrison, 28, and for exactly 30 seconds I thought my life was about to begin. Then I opened the box. The ring was gorgeous, classic. Timeless, everything I'd ever described wanting, but it wasn't my size. I stared at that ring, my hands shaking, trying to process what I was seeing. Size 6, I was a size 7, had been since high school. Logan knew that. He'd bought me rings before, holiday gifts, birthday presents. He knew my fucking size. My stomach dropped through the floor. With trembling fingers, I pulled out my phone and took a photo. Then I carefully put everything back exactly how I'd found it, protein powder forgotten. I spent the rest of the day in a haze, went through the motions at work, smiled when people talked to me, pretended everything was normal while my world crumbled in slow motion. Logan came home that evening with takeout and a kiss on my forehead. "How was your day, babe?" he asked, like he hadn't just shattered my entire future. "Fine," I managed. "Yours?" Long meeting with the investors, but I think the project's finally moving forward. The project, his startup, the reason he'd been giving me for 2 years about why marriage had to wait. Once the business is stable, he'd say. Once we're financially secure. Bullshit, all of it. That night I lay awake staring at the ceiling while Logan slept peacefully beside me. Every breath he took felt like a lie. Every time he shifted closer in his sleep, I wanted to shove him away. Who was the ring for? The question ate at me like acid. It had to be someone close. Someone whose ring size he knew. Someone he'd been planning this with while telling me he wasn't ready. By morning, I had my answer. Logan's phone buzzed during his shower. A text from Madison Blair, my best friend of 8 years, my maid of honor at the wedding I'd been planning in my head. "Can't wait to see you tonight. I'm so nervous I might throw up." I read it 3 times before it sank in. Tonight, he was seeing Madison tonight, and she was nervous. My best friend. The woman who'd spent the last 2 years listening to me cry about Logan's commitment issues. Who'd given me advice on how to be patient and let him come to the decision naturally. Who'd held my hand through every he's just not ready conversation. Madison Blair, size 6 ring finger. I knew because we'd tried on rings together at the mall just last month. "Just for fun," she'd said. Nothing about this was fun. The rage hit me like a freight train, not just anger, pure volcanic fury that made my vision blur and my hands shake. They'd been planning this behind my back while I waited, while I hoped, while I made excuses for him to my family and friends, while I wasted 2 years of my life. Logan came out of the bathroom, hair still damp, already reaching for his phone. "Everything okay?" I asked, watching his face as he read Madison's text. "Yeah, just work stuff," he said without missing a beat. "I'll probably be late tonight. Client dinner." "Client dinner, right." "Okay," I said. "I'll probably hang out with Madison anyway, girls' night." Logan's face went pale for just a second, just long enough for me to know I was right. "Madison's busy tonight," he said quickly. She mentioned something about a family thing, while texting him about being nervous. I smiled, sweet and innocent. "Oh, that's too bad. Maybe I'll just stay in then." Logan relaxed. "Good idea. You've been working too hard lately." After he left, I sat in our apartment, the apartment I'd been paying half the rent on for 3 years while he got his business off the ground, and did the math. When had this started? How long had they been lying to my face? I opened my laptop and started digging. Madison's Instagram, Logan's credit card statements that I had access to as his financial partner, phone records from our shared plan. What I found destroyed me: dinner reservations at romantic restaurants, hotel bookings in cities where Madison had traveled for work, flowers charged to his card on dates that weren't my birthday or our anniversary, going back 8 months, 8 fucking months of secret dates and intimate dinners and weekend getaways, all while he was telling me he needed more time, all while Madison was telling me to be patient. The worst part was how careful they'd been, never posting photos together, never going anywhere we might be seen, using his business credit card so I wouldn't notice on our joint account. This wasn't some impulsive affair. This was calculated, planned, coordinated. They'd been playing me for 8 months. I found the hotel reservation for tonight. The Ritz-Carlton downtown, the same hotel where Logan had taken me for our 2-year anniversary. Same room number, presidential suite, $800 a night. My stomach turned to ice. He was going to propose to her tonight in the same room where he'd told me he loved me for the first time. I closed my laptop and sat in the silence of our apartment. Their betrayal wasn't just about the sex or the lies, it was about the time, the hope, the future I'd planned around a man who'd been planning his future with someone else. 5 years of my life. 2 years of waiting, countless conversations about marriage where he'd made me feel crazy for wanting it, all while he was shopping for rings for my best friend. But I wasn't going to cry, I wasn't going to collapse, I wasn't going to give them the satisfaction of breaking me completely, I was going to break them instead. The next morning, I called in sick to work and became a detective. I started with Madison's social media, scrolling back months through her Instagram posts. Looking for clues I'd missed, signs that had been right in front of me, there they were, hidden in plain sight, photos from restaurants I recognized, places Logan had told me were business dinners. Madison posting from the same locations on the same nights, always with captions like perfect evening or feeling grateful. A selfie from the airport with the caption off on an adventure, dated the same weekend Logan had told me he was visiting his parents. His parents who lived 2 hours away by car, a photo of champagne flutes with the caption celebrating good news, from 3 weeks ago. The same night Logan had come home late, claiming his meeting had run over, they'd been documenting their relationship, just carefully. Just enough to remember their moments without exposing their secret. My secret, because I was the secret they were keeping, I dug deeper. Phone records showed dozens of calls between them, late-night conversations that lasted hours, Logan stepping out to take work calls that were really Madison. Credit card statements revealed jewelry purchases I'd never seen, a bracelet from Cartier, earrings from David Ewan. All charged the week of Madison's birthday, a birthday I'd helped celebrate, wondering why she seemed so happy when she'd mentioned being single. She hadn't been single, she'd been with my boyfriend. The evidence was overwhelming. Systematic, complete, but I needed more than evidence. I needed a plan. First, I created a backup of everything, screenshots, downloaded bank statements, saved photos. All stored in a cloud folder they couldn't access or delete. Second, I started making my own moves. I called my landlord about taking over the lease solo, opened my own bank account, started transferring my savings out of our joint accounts slowly enough that Logan wouldn't notice immediately. I wasn't just planning to leave, I was planning to disappear from their lives so completely they'd never recover. Third, I started watching them. Not stalking, just paying attention, learning their patterns, understanding how they coordinated their secret relationship. Logan's client dinners happened every Tuesday and Friday. Madison always posted about girls' nights on those same evenings, but never with photos of other people. Logan's weekend work trips aligned perfectly with Madison's out-of-town posts. They had a system, a routine, they'd gotten comfortable. That was going to be their downfall. The hardest part was acting normal, kissing Logan goodbye when he left for his business meetings, texting with Madison about weekend plans while knowing she'd be with my boyfriend. Movie night Friday, I texted her Wednesday afternoon. Can't work thing came up, rain check, work thing, right? I screenshot the conversation and added it to my evidence file. Friday evening, I sat in my car outside the Ritz-Carlton and watched Logan walk in. Suit and tie, flowers in his hand, the Tiffany box probably in his pocket. 30 minutes later, Madison arrived, hair and makeup perfect, wearing the dress I'd helped her pick out last month when she said she had an important work dinner. Important work dinner with my boyfriend, who was about to propose. I took photos of both of them entering the hotel. Time-stamped, geotagged, undeniable. Then I went home and ordered pizza and started planning phase 2. By Saturday morning, I had a complete dossier of their affair, dates, times, locations, expenses, a timeline that proved they'd been lying to me for 8 months. But more than that, I had leverage. Logan's startup was funded by conservative investors who valued family partnerships and moral character. His business partner was a family man who'd built their brand around trust and integrity. Madison worked for a PR firm that represented family-focused brands. Companies that wouldn't appreciate their account manager conducting secret affairs with taken men. They'd built their careers on images that their relationship would destroy. But then I found something that made my blood turn to ice. I was going through Logan's laptop, the one he'd left open while getting coffee, when I stumbled across his banking app, still logged in, still showing recent transactions. What I saw made me want to vomit, a wire transfer for $50,000 from an account I recognized, my inheritance account, the money my grandmother had left me when she died last year. $50,000 that was supposed to be for my future, for my wedding. For the house I'd dreamed of buying, money my grandmother had worked her entire life to save, specifically earmarked for Ella's happiness and security. Logan had stolen it. The transfer was dated 3 months ago, right around the time he'd bought Madison's engagement ring, right around the time they'd started their weekend getaways to expensive hotels. My inheritance money, used to fund his affair. I screenshot everything. Bank statements showing the transfer, credit card records showing exactly what he'd spent it on. The engagement ring, weekend trips, expensive dinners, a down payment on a fucking apartment I didn't even know about, an apartment they were planning to move into together after he dumped me. My hands were shaking so hard I could barely hold the laptop. This wasn't just betrayal, this wasn't just an affair, this was theft, financial fraud. Probably forgery, since he'd somehow accessed an account that should have required my signature. I was scrolling through more transactions when my phone buzzed, a text from Jessica Chen, one of our mutual friends. Girl, are you okay? Saw the weirdest thing on Chloe's story. Chloe's story, Madison's best friend, part of our wider friend group. I opened Instagram and found Chloe's story, a screenshot of a group chat. A group chat called Girls Night Planning. A group chat that included everyone except me. My stomach dropped through the floor. I screenshot Chloe's story before she could delete it and zoomed in on the group chat preview. Madison, he's finally going to do it tonight, wish me luck. Sarah, about fucking time lol. Chloe, still can't believe Ella has no clue. Jessica, should we tell her? Madison, no. Let me handle this my way. Lily, this is getting ridiculous, it's been 8 months. Sarah, I almost said something at lunch yesterday, she was talking about wedding venues again. Chloe, that's so sad lol Madison, she'll be fine, Ella always bounces back. Sarah, still feel bad for her though Madison, don't, trust me I'm doing her a favor. I read it 3 times before the words sank in, they all knew. Every single one of them. My entire friend group had known about the affair for 8 months and said nothing, not just said nothing, they'd been laughing about it, I was a fucking joke to them. Jessica's text made sense now, she'd seen Chloe accidentally post the group chat screenshot to her public story instead of sending it privately. I called Jessica immediately. Ella, how long have you known? Silence. Jessica, how long? Since March, she said quietly. March, 5 months ago, why didn't you tell me? Madison said she was going to end it. She said it was just physical, that it didn't mean anything. She begged us not to say anything until she figured out how to handle it. Handle it? She said she needed time to let Logan down easy. Let Logan down easy while accepting his proposal. Did you believe her? Another silence. At first, but then. It kept going, and we started to realize she was never going to end it. So you just watched me make a fool of myself for 5 months? Ella, we didn't know what to do. Madison is our friend too. We didn't want to choose sides. Choose sides between a cheater and the person being cheated on. You did choose sides, I said. You chose hers. I hung up. My phone immediately started buzzing, texts from the group. Sarah, Ella, can we talk? Chloe, I'm so sorry, I didn't mean to post that. Lily, we wanted to tell you so many times. Jessica, please don't hate us. I turned my phone face down and sat in the silence of Logan's apartment. The apartment I'd been paying half the rent on. The apartment furnished with my grandmother's antique dining set. The apartment where Logan had been planning his future with my best friend while I waited for him to choose me. But it wasn't just Logan and Madison anymore. It was everyone, every person I'd trusted, every friend I'd confided in about my relationship problems, every dinner party where they'd sat across from me knowing the truth, letting me embarrass myself with hope. They'd turn me into entertainment. Perfect. I spent the next 2 hours digging deeper into that group chat. Jessica had inadvertently given me the ammunition I needed. I called Sarah Martinez, the one person in the group who'd seemed genuinely conflicted about keeping the secret. Sarah, it's Ella. Ella, I'm so sorry. I need you to send me screenshots of the group chat, all of it from the beginning. I can't do that. You owe me. All of you fucking owe me. Send me the screenshots or I'll make sure everyone knows you were part of this. Sarah was quiet for a long moment. Give me 10 minutes. 20 minutes later, my phone buzzed with a series of images that made me physically ill. March 15th, Madison. So something happened with Logan last night. March 15th, Chloe. OMG, what? March 15th, Madison. We kissed, like really kissed. I know it's wrong, but. March 17th, Madison. I can't stop thinking about him. What do I do? March 17th, Lily. You have to tell Ella. March 17th, Madison. I will, just need to figure out how. March 23rd, Madison. We slept together. March 23rd, Sarah. Madison, no. March 23rd, Madison. I know, but it was incredible. He says he's never felt this way before. March 25th, Chloe. What about Ella? March 25th, Madison. He's going to tell her soon. He just needs time. April 2nd, Madison. Still haven't told Ella. Logan says the timing isn't right. April 2nd, Jessica. This is getting out of hand. April 8th, Madison. Had dinner with Logan and Ella yesterday. She kept talking about wedding venues. It was so awkward lol. April 8th, Chloe. Poor Ella. April 8th, Madison. She'll be fine. Honestly, Logan and I make so much more sense together. The messages went on for months. Hundreds of them. Madison detailing every date, every lie Logan told me, every time they had sex in the bed I shared with him. But the worst ones were about me. May 12th, Madison. Ella asked me for advice about surprising Logan for his birthday. I told her to book that expensive restaurant he hates. El Mao. May 12th, Chloe. You're evil. May 20th, Madison. She's planning a surprise party for our 5-year anniversary next month. Should I tell Logan or let it be awkward? May 20th, Sarah. Madison, this is cruel. May 20th, Madison. It's not cruel, it's realistic. He doesn't want to celebrate 5 years with her. June 3rd, Madison. Ella keeps asking why I'm so happy lately. If only she knew. June 15th, Madison. Logan says I'm everything Ella isn't. Confident, successful, sexually adventurous. June 15th, Lily. Yikes. June 15th, Madison. What? It's true, Ella's nice, but she's so basic. July 4th, Madison. Ella invited me to their weekend trip to Aspen. Obviously, I can't go because Logan and I already have plans, but I told her I have work. She looks so disappointed. Lol. July 4th, Chloe. You're going to hell. July 4th, Madison. Worth it. August 8th, Madison. Logan's going to propose soon. He showed me the ring yesterday. August 8th, Jessica. To you. August 8th, Madison. Obviously to me, he's been planning it for weeks. August 8th, Sarah. What about Ella? August 8th, Madison. What about her? She'll move on. She always does. August 10th, Madison. Went ring shopping with Ella today for future reference. El Mao. If she only knew I was helping her size my future engagement ring. August 10th, Chloe. This is so fucked up. August 10th, Madison. It's hilarious. I stared at the screenshots until my eyes burned. 8 months of betrayal documented in real time. 8 months of my best friends watching me get played and finding it entertaining. But the financial evidence was even worse. I'd found Logan's hidden account statements in his email, the one linked to my inheritance money. My grandmother's $50,000 hadn't just paid for Madison's ring and their romantic getaways, it had funded an entire second life, $8,000 for the engagement ring, $12,000 for a trip to Paris I'd never heard about, $15,000 down payment on an apartment in Madison's name. $3,000 for lingerie and jewelry. $7,000 for a car down payment a BMW Madison had said was a work bonus. And the remaining $5,000, a wedding planner. They'd already started planning their wedding while I was planning my future with him, my grandmother's money. The woman who'd raised me, who'd saved every penny for my happiness, who died believing Logan was the man I'd marry. He'd stolen her life savings to fund his affair. I spent Saturday putting together packages. Not just 2 packages anymore, 8 packages, one for every person who'd known the truth and chosen to keep me in the dark. Professional, detailed, devastating. Then I waited. Sunday morning, Logan came home looking guilty as hell. Happy but guilty. How was your work trip? I asked sweetly. Productive, he said, not meeting my eyes. Really productive. I bet it was. Madison texted me an hour later. Coffee today, I have news. News. Like she was going to tell me about her engagement to my boyfriend. Can't wait to hear, I texted back. We met at our usual cafe downtown. Madison was practically glowing, kept touching her left hand where a ring wasn't visible yet. So, she said, practically bouncing in her seat, I have something to tell you. Oh, I leaned forward, all fake enthusiasm. Good news, really good news, but it's complicated. Complicated how? Madison bit her lip. Promise me you won't be upset about her stealing my boyfriend and accepting his proposal while I waited for scraps. Of course not, I lied. You can tell me anything. I'm engaged. She said it like she was announcing a lottery win, like this was cause for celebration. Oh my God, I squealed, grabbing her hands. Who, when, tell me everything. Madison's face fell slightly. That's the complicated part. What do you mean? It's Logan. She said his name quietly, like she was confessing to murder. I stared at her, letting the silence stretch, watching her squirm. Logan, I repeated slowly. My Logan. Ella, I know how this looks. My boyfriend of 5 years, Logan. It's not what you think. The Logan who's been telling me he's not ready for marriage, Logan. Madison's face crumpled. Ella, please let me explain. I pulled my hands away from hers. Explain what? That you've been fucking my boyfriend behind my back? It's not like that. Then what is it like, Madison? She was crying now, real tears. We didn't plan this, it just happened. What just happened? The sex or the 8 months of lies? Her face went white. How did you? No, because I'm not stupid, just trusting there's a difference. I stood up, leaving money on the table for my untouched coffee. Ella, wait, no, I said, looking down at her. I've waited long enough. I walked away, leaving Madison crying in the cafe, and went home to execute phase 3. Monday morning, I called in sick. This was war. At 9 a.m., I sent Logan's business partner everything: bank statements showing the stolen inheritance, hotel receipts, screenshots of Logan bragging about using my grandmother's money for his affair. The subject line was simple: financial fraud and conduct concerns Logan Barrett. At 9:15 a.m., Madison's boss got the same treatment. Her company specialized in family brands. They wouldn't appreciate their account manager funding affairs with stolen inheritance money. At 9:30 a.m., I went nuclear on the friend group. Each of them got a personalized email with screenshots of their specific messages mocking me. I forwarded copies to their employers, families, boyfriends. If they wanted to play games with my life, they could explain their character to people who mattered to them. But my masterpiece was the Instagram post. 6 photos: Logan and Madison entering the hotel, screenshots of Madison calling me basic and clueless, bank statements showing the $50,000 theft, credit card records showing Logan spending my inheritance on Madison's engagement ring, the group chat screenshots, my grandmother's obituary. The caption hit like a sledgehammer. 5 years wasn't long enough for him to marry me. 8 months was plenty to steal my inheritance and marry my best friend. Swipe to see how they really felt about me and how my friends turned my heartbreak into entertainment. Logan, that $50,000 was my grandmother's life savings. She died believing you loved me. You used her money to buy another woman's ring. Madison, you stood at her funeral and comforted me, then you fucked him in our bed. To my former friends, screenshots are being sent to your employers and families. You chose sides, live with it. I tagged everyone: Logan, Madison, the entire friend group, their employers, their families. Then I turned off my phone and went for a run. When I came back, my phone had exploded. 200 missed calls, thousands of texts. The post had gone viral. Comments were pouring in from strangers. Using a dead grandmother's money for an affair? That's sociopathic. Those friends are disgusting. 8 months of laughing at her pain. This is the most brutal takedown I've ever seen. Logan had called 43 times. Madison left 17 desperate voicemails, but the messages from the friend group were perfect. Sarah, please take this down. I could lose my job. Chloe, my boyfriend is moving out. He saw the screenshots. Jessica, my mom is asking questions. I'll do anything. Lily, everyone at work knows. Please stop. Stop. I was just getting started. My phone rang. Unknown number. This is Detective Rodriguez, Denver Police. We need to discuss potential financial fraud involving stolen inheritance funds. Can you come in this afternoon? I smiled. I'll bring all my documentation. By Tuesday, the dominoes were falling everywhere. Logan's business partner dissolved their partnership. 3 major clients pulled contracts. His startup was finished. Madison got fired for conduct incompatible with company values. Sarah was put on administrative leave after her boss saw the group chat screenshots. Chloe's boyfriend moved out and posted publicly about her character. Jessica's mother called to apologize for her daughter's behavior. Lily deactivated all social media after being confronted about enabling financial abuse. Wednesday brought the best news. We're filing felony fraud charges against Logan Barrett, Detective Rodriguez told me. 2 to 8 years. Madison Blair faces accessory charges as well. Prison time for stealing my grandmother's money. Fucking perfect. 6 weeks later, I was sitting in a lawyer's office finalizing the civil lawsuit against Logan for the full inheritance amount plus damages, interest, and legal fees. We're seeking $125,000 total, my lawyer explained. The original $50,000 plus punitive damages for emotional distress plus interest and legal costs. What are his chances of fighting it? 0. The evidence is overwhelming. His own bank records show the theft. The forged documents are obvious. His lawyer is already talking settlement. Logan had tried calling me 68 times since the Instagram post went viral. I'd blocked his number after the police told me not to have contact during the investigation. Madison had sent flowers to my new apartment with a note begging for forgiveness. I donated them to the women's shelter with a note saying they were from someone learning about consequences. The friend group had imploded completely. Sarah and Chloe weren't speaking after Sarah blamed Chloe for the group chat leak. Jessica had moved back home with her parents after losing her job. Lily had started therapy and sent me a letter apologizing and explaining she'd always felt pressured by the others to go along with their behavior. I was the only one who'd ended up better off. The viral Instagram post had caught the attention of a social media marketing firm specializing in authentic storytelling and crisis communication. Your post was brilliant, the hiring manager told me during my interview. Honest, strategic, devastating, that's exactly the kind of authentic voice our clients need when they're dealing with their own reputation crises. The salary was 60% more than my old job, the work was challenging and creative. The team respected honesty and directness instead of toxic positivity. For the first time in years, I was excited about my future. 3 months later, I moved into a beautiful one-bedroom apartment in the neighborhood I'd always wanted. Paid for entirely with my own money, no shared accounts or joint leases. 6 months later, Logan pled guilty to felony fraud and was sentenced to 18 months in prison plus restitution. Madison pled guilty to accessory charges and received 6 months plus community service. The civil lawsuit settled for $140,000. More than enough to replace what they'd stolen plus compensation for the emotional damage. A year later, I ran into Sarah at the grocery store. She looked terrible, thin, tired, defeated. Ella, she said, blocking my path. Can we please talk? I looked at her for a long moment. This woman who'd been my friend for 6 years, who'd watched me get played for 8 months and found it entertaining. What could we possibly have to talk about? I lost my job, my boyfriend left me, everyone thinks I'm a terrible person. You are a terrible person. That's not fair. We were trying to protect Madison. You were protecting yourselves. You didn't want to deal with the drama of telling me the truth, so you let me live a lie for 8 months. We didn't know about the money. You knew enough. You knew Logan was lying to me every day. You knew Madison was stealing my boyfriend while pretending to be my best friend. You knew I was being humiliated and you chose to let it continue. Sarah's eyes filled with tears. I'm sorry, I'm so sorry. I'm sure you are sorry you got caught, sorry you face consequences, sorry your life fell apart. I pushed my cart around her. But I'm not sorry it happened to you. 2 years later, I was featured in Forbes as one of 30 under 30 women rebuilding after betrayal. What advice would you give to women in similar situations? The interviewer asked. Stop waiting for people to choose you, I said. If someone wants to be with you, they will be. If they want to marry you, they will. If they're making you wait, they're making time to find someone better. Any regrets about how you handled the situation? I thought about it, the Instagram post that destroyed multiple reputations, the emails that ended careers, the criminal charges that put people in prison. None, I said. They played a long game built on lies and theft. I just played it better with the truth. What's next for you? I smiled. Everything. The article was titled The Wait is Over, How One Woman's Truth Bomb Became Her Renaissance. Logan texted me after he got out of prison, the first contact we'd had since his sentencing. I know you'll never forgive me, but I need you to know I'm sorry, not just for getting caught, for what I did to you. You deserved better. I stared at the message for a long time, then I typed back, you're right, I deserved better, that's why I built better. He never replied. 3 years later, I'm engaged to Marcus Fletcher, a photographer who proposed after 4 months of dating. How did you know so quickly? Someone asked at our engagement party. Because Ella doesn't make you guess where you stand, he said, squeezing my hand. She's honest about what she wants and deserves. I knew immediately that I wanted to be the man who gave her everything she'd been waiting for. And because I learned that my value doesn't depend on someone else's recognition of it, I added, I'm worth loving completely, immediately, and honestly. Anyone who can't see that isn't worth my time. Marcus smiled. Best decision I ever made was recognizing what was already there. You didn't recognize it, I corrected him. You chose it. Logan had taught me to wait for love. Marcus taught me to expect it. The difference changed everything. At our wedding, someone asked about my something old. I touched the necklace around my neck, my grandmother's pearl necklace, the one thing of hers Logan hadn't been able to steal. My grandmother always told me that real love doesn't make you wait, I said. She was right, it just took me a while to listen. Logan had stolen my grandmother's money, but he couldn't steal her wisdom. And in the end, that wisdom was worth more than anything he could have taken. Sometimes the best revenge isn't destroying the people who wronged you. Sometimes it's building something so much better than what they tried to take that everyone can see what they actually lost. That's what I did. Not just a successful career or a healthy relationship. I built a life where I never had to wait for anyone to choose me again. Because I'd finally learned to choose myself. Thanks for sticking around to the end. If this story hit you in the feels or the spine, don't forget to like, subscribe, and join us for more real-life revenge on Revenge Drive.